Yeah, it's 4 a.m. in the morning, and I'm already here doing a review just to get it out of the way. It's 4:20 a.m. Huh. Go figure. I decided to do a review of the New Hampshire race that Hoover and I and Brian LaFleur Jr., also known as Original Big Bry, and Ty Naughton went to. Well, I went together with Alex Hoover, but Hoover and Brian met up with us, and we chatted for a bit, and Ty even sat with us at the race. So aside from NASCAR's continued inadequacy, not learning a damn thing from the absolute insufferable atrocity that was 2020 Texas, which completely took out the early race competitor, Kevin Harvick from Texas 2020, and Kyle Busch, New Hampshire, although, Kyle Busch, go fuck yourself. But not that I condone Kyle Busch getting wrecked out this early due to NASCAR inadequacy, but all I can say is you got what you deserve, you dumb motherfucker. Go fuck yourself with a rusty ass chainsaw. But still, it goes without saying that maybe NASCAR perhaps should look at their stupid shit before they call the green flag. CC at Dover 2019 when they were doing pace laps and then brought the cars back into the pits when it was weather. What's the point of bringing the cars out when there's impending weather? This time I can't even hold it against Kyle Busch on this one, that they never should have went green to begin with if there's threatening weather in the area. Should have, I don't know, look at the freaking radar first. But I digress. Alright, first couple of laps wasn't climactic, but it was rather interesting to say the very least. You got Chase Elliott leading a couple of laps. Brad Keselowski was able to catch up to him and lead a handful of laps himself as well. Blaney was even able to move Brad Keselowski out of the way. Brad Keselowski was able to get right back to him. You know, that's one of the things I really love about New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Even if you fuck up even just a little bit in the corners, you can still catch up to your opponents if you have that groove that really works for you without PJ1. And see what happens when you don't add PJ1 on the track, NASCAR? You get good racing exactly like this. And, well, to be fair, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt since they were racing against a clock because, well, New Hampshire doesn't have stadium lights. They were really greedy for that win, so they had to, no matter what lap, how many certain amount of laps to go, they had to pass for position. So, in case if it was going to be called with 10 laps to go, which in this case it was roughly about 8 laps short, 293 instead of 301, then, well, they're going to have to just go for it to be safe. Take risks to be safe towards the lead. And holy shit, Eric Almirola of all people. Lots of people, if they were told that they predicted Almirola was going to be the winner, it's like, how? A lot of other people probably would have been like, how? Unless if you're talking about Daytona or Talladega or possibly a few mileage race at a 1.5 miler, how is Eric Almirola gonna win at all? Well, apparently he just had a very fast car at the Magic Mile of all places. I was honestly surprised that he of all people would win. And do I know something else crazy? Kevin Harvick led the most laps. Now that's something you don't often see anymore, or at least throughout 2021, is Kevin Harvick leading. He's still been quietly consistent this season, but just hasn't led hasn't really led a lot of laps this season. Still shares the same amount of top 10s as the top 2 drivers that have the most top 10s this season and most top 5s, Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson. 15 top 10s for Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin, albeit Harvick is still 5 top 5s short of those two said drivers. 66 laps, which is barely 2 laps above Ryan Blaney. I was really hoping Ryan Blaney would muster up that victory for me in person, because I was thinking to myself, if it's not going to be a Hendrick driver, at least it'll be my favorite non-Hendrick driver winning, but Almirola just had a faster car. So did Christopher Bell. Anybody who hates New Hampshire Motor Speedway obviously would hate Bristol in the Gen 4 days too, because this is like the finest classic resembling NASCAR racing you'll ever possibly see at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. I really wish they still kept a second day, but it's still better than absolutely nothing at all, because I would dread if they were to chalk this track, because this is the finest underrated track you'll ever get on the NASCAR schedule, and not to mention the East Coast for NASCAR would lose a lot of money if they didn't host very many races in the East Coast, which have a lot of race fans over in that location as well. So, now that Eric Almirola won a race for himself this season, thus turning his abysmal season around, that pretty much shakes the whole playoff grid up. That now puts Austin Dillon below the cutoff line, which, if I were to be bluntly honest, I don't mind, because, you know what? Maybe it's a lesson that you shouldn't dump Eric Almirola at a crown jewel race. Not that I support the broken system that the win-and-you're-in ticket should warrant you as a contender for the championship, but at the same time, maybe you should have realized the consequences with the many years to come to you, Austin Dillon. So, for that perhaps should be a lesson learned, not to dump your way to a crown jewel. So, Austin Dillon, why don't you just take that Daytona 500 trophy and shove it straight up your ass? Because Eric Almirola on talent has as many wins as you do. You're remotely lucky you had any of those 3 wins to begin with. Get on Eric's level by winning at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, a track that actually takes wheeling and talent to win at. And just for good measure, that should also be a consequence, that absolutely is karma for knocking out the 7-time champion from last year, who absolutely should have made the playoffs. It wasn't for your fluke win at Texas or Cole Custer's win at Kentucky that he got lucky about, if John Hunter Nemechek wasn't a weekly caution, and if Jimmy Johnson didn't, on the restart at Kentucky. Now, just imagine if there was going to be 2 more first-time winners, and then Kevin Harvick were to finally get his first win of 2021. Denny Hamlin would even have the biggest example of his legacy of failure, is being the points leader only to get knocked out of the playoffs because everyone else kept winning before him. I would hope NASCAR would consider that a wake-up call to get rid of the whole win-and-you're-in bullshit, because a season like that will go unrewarded, assuming that Chase Elliott will fail to win at Watkins Glen and Indianapolis Road Course, because it would just be all disposed of like a garbage, all because you've got a lot of drivers who are barely threats winning before the 36 race long championship contender. Regardless of whether or not Denny wins a race, he's still a championship contender. It shouldn't have to. This shit shouldn't have to be spoon-fed to drivers who are barely a threat at all for even a battle for the top 25 position in points. This is, if anything, shoving down the throats of people who really want to just enjoy talent and legitimacy in NASCAR. Because of NASCAR's ridiculous appeasement to entertainment, Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick are in danger of losing their spot in the playoffs despite their consistency. And because of their appeasement to entertainment and excitement and eye candy value, you've got Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick's efforts are going to be probably squandered if we got winners as rare as Tyler Reddick, Matt DiBenedetto, maybe Bubba Wallace, Ryan frickin' Preece, maybe even Chaz Stain possibly getting a first win before the playoffs. This is something that NASCAR really needs to look at, because it really should not go unchecked, because Denny Hamlin has been laying down the electric fence towards the rest of the field with his consistency. No matter how much Kyle Larson tries to get the fuck ahead of him, Denny Hamlin always manages to save as many points possible so he could keep up his points lead. All of this has done is just shove their bullshit excitement down the rest of the community's throat. And if you guys have been watching any of my reviews in any capacity at all, you would know that Denny Hamlin is far, far from one of my favorite drivers of all time. And it would actually make me sick if he didn't make the playoffs, all because there were so many arbitrary winners garnering a win before him. His hard work, hard efforts, amounts of points that he's been saving, it will go to waste if we get so many Cinderella stories above him. We shouldn't have to put all those Cinderella stories above someone's hard work all season long. I am not a big Denny Hamlin guy. Sometimes I get a little fire in me because of 2017 Martinsville. But it would be embarrassing if he was completely disposed of out of the playoffs because of these arbitrary winners. From my standpoint, if you acquire enough points to warrant a spot into the playoffs, fuck your win, fuck your flukeness of a victory, you warrant a playoff spot. If you show that you are championship worthy, regardless of how many wins you acquire, then you should warrant a playoff spot, just like the old way. If I was going to have a playoff system, at least race on points, no eliminations, no points reset. Work your absolute hardest to show that you are warranting of a playoff spot. That's just my viewpoint. We're going to have 2 weeks off of NASCAR due to the Olympics in Japan. I already got something special planned for this week that isn't NASCAR related. You guys better stay tuned for that one, because I've been talking about this for quite a while now. I've been posting about my escapades about this particular topic on Instagram, Facebook, and whatnot for quite a long ass time already, so I hope you guys prepare your butts for this one. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed my review. Expect more out of my upcoming vlogs. Take care, have a nice morning, have a nice night, have a nice whatever time zone you may be in watching this. Because currently it is 4:36 a.m. in the New England time right now. And with Watkins Glen being the next race, it's pretty much a guaranteed Chase Elliott victory. So, if somehow Chase Elliott chokes both Watkins Glen and Indianapolis Road Course, I think Harvick and Denny should be safe. Unless if there's two more first-time winners after the road courses. So, if you're a Harvick fan or if you're a Denny fan, you better hope that Chase Elliott keeps his winning consecutive streak at road courses. Well, not consecutive streak, since Kyle Larson is pretty much the not brick wall, but electric fence in between COTA and Road America. So, you better hope there's a multi-winner at Watkins Glen, Indy Road Course, and Michigan. Because if there isn't, then it's either both Harvick and Hamlin are screwed, or one of them's screwed. Have a good night.